Welcome back to the AI-powered marketing show, where we explore the intersection of artificial intelligence with cutting-edge marketing strategies. Good morning, good day, good evening, bonjour, bonsoir, hola, wherever you are in the world. Welcome, welcome, welcome. My name is Keith Bell. I am the host of the AI-powered marketing show. If I sound a little stuffy today, it's because I'm getting over a cold. I've been exploring for a while now the possibility of creating a newsletter to share with my audience. And I know that there are people out there that aren't necessarily comfortable in getting in front of the camera like I am. I don't seem to have a problem with it. I have to admit, when I first started, it was something I was extremely uncomfortable with. I didn't like hearing the sound of my voice. I didn't like seeing my faces. I'd pick out all the age spots on my face, and, I didn't like my smile. But I learned to get over it. I learned to appreciate who I am. So I'm comfortable with getting on camera, but I know there's a lot of you out there that don't like the idea of getting on camera, that your skill lies better with podcasting, without a face, where you're talking, you're having a conversation with people. And I get that. I also know that there are people out there that don't even like to do that because they don't like to hear the sound of their voice, but they're really good writers. Or maybe they're not so good writers, and they need a little bit of help. Well, today I want to talk about the concept of starting a newsletter. And I've been looking into this heavily because it's one of the centerpieces of a website that I'm building so that I can build continual engagement with my audience and teach people about artificial intelligence and how it is helping people grow their businesses. So I've been looking at a number of platforms, but the one platform that I am most impressed with is BeeHiiv. And BeeHiiv has a great onboarding process that will take you from start to finish, to building your initial templates, to building your initial setup. They have a great BeeHiiv 101 Academy in there. If you want to spend a little bit more money, I think it's like $999, $1,000 for their BeeHiiv. I think it's XP. They also teach you ways that you can monetize your newsletter. They also have, it looks like they have relationships with other newsletters or organizations. I still haven't quite figured this out yet, but you can monetize your newsletter by helping to promote these other organizations, APIs, newsletters, etc. So there's a lot of flexibility and potential there. One of the things that struck me was that newsletters have been around forever. Now, when I initially looked it up and asked how long have newsletters been around, I was told roughly for the last 20 years. And I knew that couldn't possibly be true, because newsletters have been popular all the way. I think one of the first newsletters that ever went out, and it wasn't necessarily called a newsletter, was Poor Richard's Almanac, written by Benjamin Franklin. And that goes all the way back to the 1750s. So I was curious. I started doing some research on what is, or how long have newsletters been around, and how long have people been monetizing them. So one of the first answers that I got, and I did a search in Gemini Advanced, was give me a breakdown of newsletters and the history of newsletters going all the way back to as far back as human history can remember. And the first one I got was ancient Rome, the news on stone. So the Romans were putting the news out on stone, and they were sending it out to on tablets called the Acta Diurna, which means daily acts, were the world's first This is the first public news bulletin. It was a precursor to our modern newsletter. Then you have medieval trade. Handwritten networks. During the medieval age, information was power. Merchant guilds and wealthy families relied on handwritten newsletters. These contained vital market insights, update on trade routes. These newsletters acted as a crucial tool to stay ahead in the world of slow communication. What changed all of this, what really had the biggest impact on the way that these written forms of communication, whether you want to call them a newsletter or news or the first newspapers, was the invention of the Gutenberg printing press. So this printing revolution, the printing press, democratized information. Now, up until this point, all of the information that the Romans put out and that was put out in medieval times was controlled state media, much like you see in a communist country. Well, this was the first time where the advent of the printing press allowed for anyone in the free world to put out information, put out news, put out a newspaper, put out a newsletter, etc. So the printing press democratized information. Newsletters transitioned into the earliest newspapers. Publications like Relation Allgemeine und Gundelwarden Historien. I don't speak German. I apologize to all you German-speaking folks. If you can explain how to pronounce that, I would be greatly appreciative. Or England's Oxford Gazette, which came out in 1665. Specialized knowledge, these targeted interest newsletters saw a proliferation dedicated to specific topics, though. So you'd have religious groups, scientific groups, trade organizations. They would disseminate information out based on their specific niche. So now we're seeing the development of the earliest breakdown of newsletters into niches. They're segmenting themselves by their audience interest. Interesting. Then we have the industrial age. Industrial age, mass reach, yet limited. The 19th and early 20th centuries brought new technologies like the mimeograph and the photocopier. Newsletters became easier to reproduce, yet distribution remained largely physical. So now we're seeing mass-produced newsletters, mass-produced newspapers, and you've all seen the images of the 10-year-old boy that's standing on the corner, get your Times Gazette, and he's hawking for money, and he's making like a shilling, which I don't even know what a shilling is or how much it is, but he's making a shilling for each newspaper he sells. Then, with the advances in technology, now emails and newsletters get wings. They start to work together. The internet and email revolutionized the newsletter. Suddenly, content could reach hundreds of thousands of people. The bigger your list, the more people you could reach with your newsletter. Now we get into blogging and the democratization of distribution. The rise of blogging platforms in the early 2000s further democratized newsletter creation. Individuals could now easily share their passion and expertise. So this was not only a creative outlet for people to be able to share what they were interested in, what they were passionate about, but also a great way to get out information to their niche. And eventually, with these blogs and content creation, they learned how to monetize income from it, and an income stream, a monthly recurring, my call is terrible today, a monthly recurring revenue stream. Thank you. Every month that would help them to do things like travel bloggers would go and travel the world. I wish I had this when I was in college or right after college in the early 80s because I would have traveled the world. In 1981 through 86, there was no internet. There was no World Wide Web. It didn't exist yet. So there was this explosion of content. Newsletters now come in every shape and size. How does AI revolutionize this process? So now we have hyper personalization. Now you can really hyper personalize your newsletter to target your specific audience, but not even just your specific audience, but the specific sub audiences or sub segments within your audience. And in another episode, I'm going to talk about segmentation and how you can segment your audience. So AI curation filters the flood. AI tools can filter through and sift through oceans of online content. In preparation for this podcast episode, I was able to filter through rather quickly the information that I wanted so that I could present to you a little bit more about newsletters. Tailored delivery. It's all about you. AI learns your interest and what you're interested in and recommends articles, blog posts, YouTube videos, etc. for you. AI as a writing assistant. I am a terrible writer. I will admit that I have a problem with grammar and spelling. It actually became an issue in my career as a police officer, towards the final stages of my career as a police officer, where I was, I'm a terrible speller, and grammar is not my big thing. It wasn't something that I focused on. But AI has dramatically affected my ability to communicate through the written word because I can use AI to clean up what I say and how I write and make it much more professional, much more engaging. So where's the future? Where are newsletters going to take us? Only you can determine that. Only your passion for newsletters and writing is going to build the future of newsletters. Imagine a newsletter so finely tuned, your newsletter so finely tuned that when you introduce it to someone, there's fascinating topics. They're really into what you have to say. They are engaged with you, and it's just one more touch point in the customer value journey where you are engaging with your ideal customer in another unique way. They see a blog post, they watch a YouTube video, they listen to a podcast episode, they get your newsletter, okay? Maybe they go to one of your live events. Maybe they read your book. These are all touch points and a way to further engage with your audience. So, newsletters, I am in the process of starting to build mine out. It's going to be called the AI-powered marketer, and it's going to be specifically geared towards you, the digital marketer, the entrepreneur, the tech enthusiast who is looking to build an online business and earn income from your knowledge, your skills, your abilities, your expertise. So this letter and it explores how AI can help you improve that process. So I hope you got value out of this episode today. Please make sure you follow my podcast. You can find me on Spotify. You can find me on Apple Podcasts. It's called the AI-Powered Marketing Show. You can also find it by typing in Funnelosophy. That's Funnellosophy. And as always, have a great day. Keep iterating, keep innovating, and you too will succeed. Take care.